The original Nintendo Switch is one of my favorite, if not my favorite console ever. I am constantly struggling with, well, do I like the SNES more or the Switch, honestly? Because a lot of the RPGs, as an RPG player, I love from the Super Nintendo are on the Nintendo Switch. But that doesn't mean that the Nintendo Switch doesn't have problems that I would like to see fixed when it comes to the Nintendo Switch 2. Here are my 5 main problems with it. Let's get into that. First off, something very important that hopefully gets fixed. It's the Joy-Con drift. Like, I joked around with my wife that all I want in a Switch 2 is that it's just the same console without Joy-Con drift. Well, of course that's not really what I wanted from the Switch 2, especially not at the price, which I think is perfectly okay, but that's a different topic. But, you know, it really sucks. For a long time, I personally didn't even have a problem, and then suddenly almost all my Joy-Con and even one Pro controller started having this stupid drift. And it's annoying because these controllers aren't that cheap. So it sucks if you get a faulty one or if it becomes faulty. Yeah, for a time, at least over here, Nintendo fixed that for free. But I don't know, it shouldn't be an issue in the first place. I mean, things can happen, things break, that is very normal. However, one of the controllers that has drift I have is one of the newest ones. And that shouldn't be the case. So yeah, fix the Joy-Con drift, or rather, don't fix the Joy-Con drift. Just have the Switch 2 Joy-Cons don't have drift at all. And I am very positive that they did build them more sturdy. I have hopes, I am positive about it, and I think Nintendo, while they didn't treat the Joy-Con drift that well, they did listen to the customers and made the new Joy-Cons so that they don't have this drift anymore. Here's hoping. The next thing is something I technically understand, and that's loading times or the performance in general. Basically, ask yourself the question, can the Switch 2 run Pokemon? Pokemon stutters in a lot of places. It has a lot of issues with the frame rate, and to be honest, I am a bit joking here because that's not really the Switch's fault, but rather Game Freak's. But still, some AAA titles do not run that well and have stuttering frame rates, and you know, it's nice to have these big games on the console. And I think, given that the Switch 2 is a bit weaker, not the Switch 2, the Switch is a bit weaker, sorry. It's acceptable if you want to play them on the go. It's like, you win some, you lose some. However, when it comes to the Switch 2, they absolutely advertised it with stuff like Elden Ring and things. Final Fantasy VII Remake Integrate. These big games are now on console, not as cloud versions, but as actual games. It was a big thing in the Direct, and I think they now also need to deliver. I am excited to finally play Elden Ring. I wanted to check that out, and the Switch 2 will be my version. And I just hope it runs fine. If it doesn't, I cut my losses, but I definitely would be a bit disappointed there. We can only wait and see. Number 3 is the eShop. No, I do not want music back. I get that the music from the Wii eShop is iconic, but do you really need music in a shop where you buy your games digitally? I don't think you need that. Really not. It's fine if it's without music. However, the current Switch eShop runs like an elephant stuck in mud. It doesn't, is what I'm saying. It's so awfully slow. You don't have a shopping cart. Like, there are times where I, in a sale, want to buy more than one game. But the thing is, if I want to do that, I have to find the game, then buy it, and then need to go back to the sales section to browse further. I haven't decided what I want to buy yet, but I have to go through the whole list again because it doesn't remember where you were, and it's a whole mess, and a simple shopping cart would fix that already. Then, of course, make it run more smoothly, and the recommendations should be tied to you. I know a lot of people hate that. It's like, oh, they have my data to send me personalized advertisements. Which is like, yeah, personal data is precious and everything, but do you have random recommendations or advertisements? Or recommendations and advertisements that are about stuff you're interested in? Quite honestly, I take the stuff I'm interested in. And definitely in something like the eShop. But no, the recommendations are just extremely random. And one thing that also needs to be removed is every game with hentai in its name. What the hell, Nintendo? Why are you allowing these stupid games that feel like they put malware on your system? Which I don't know if they could on the Nintendo Switch, but if they do, oh boy. Yeah. Just completely overhaul the eShop, please. Please. Point number 4 for me is the online service. It's a bit of a here and there thing. I love the libraries we have with the classic games, and getting GameCube now, yes, that's so great. I did pre-order the GameCube controller just for that. I think you could improve upon these lineups because, of course, there are thousands, tens of thousands of games for all of these consoles that are available here. Of course, you can always improve and stuff. But that's not quite what I'm talking about. Just a little dive to the side here. Give us the Pokemon Game Boy Color and Game Boy Advance games, and let us transfer these Pokemon to home, please. Thank you. What I'm really talking about though is something I rarely use, honestly, but I do plan to use more, especially with Mario Kart World and Inazuma 11 Victory Road. Playing with other people, with a game chat included and everything. And we have seen that the games that are streamed via game chat don't run that smoothly, but honestly, I think that's fine, because you don't need to see the details necessarily, so not that good frame rate, but they can still show you how something is done or something. You can use that. But if you have an actual online play, like in Splatoon, where you fight other players and stuff, make that run much smoother. I didn't have that many bad experiences like other people did, because like I said, I do not play online that much, but I think whenever I did, be it Smash Bros, Mario Kart 8 or something, it didn't run as smooth as it should be. And I think the P2P is to be at fault for that, in a way. I think in a Pokemon game where you battle one player, P2P can work, especially the trading in Pokemon can work. But if it's something more crazy with more players, like Mario Kart, Splatoon and stuff, that's way more fulminant in its graphics, I think in that case it shouldn't be P2P, but be based on an actual server. A good and strong server. So tighten this up and we're good. Now on to the final point, and I think that one you will all agree on. So, the final point I want to make, what needs to be improved, and hopefully is the UI of the system itself. Which, if you haven't noticed, we have not seen yet. I think there is a good chance that the UI will just be the same as in Switch 1. I hope not. There's several problems with that. First off, the positive, it works smoothly. You cannot argue that it's bad. It's not really bad. It is serviceable. At a bare minimum though. It's easy to find your game, kinda. And you have these games on the home screen and the newest games you played are on there and stuff. Okay, it works, it's serviceable. It's not ideal though. We did get folder integration, but the way folders are used on the Switch, that's just awful. Just let me put a folder on the home screen like the 3DS had. The 3DS menu is the perfect example of what we want here. Just let me have the folder on my home screen, go into it, pick the games. Easy, done, out. Especially with the mouse, drag and drop. So easy to do. Like, a folder structure is so easy to make with the mouse options that the Switch 2 gives you. It's really easy. Then maybe 2 rows of games, something like that. Just make, especially the folders, just make the folders usable and not like... It's such a hassle to not only make a folder, but also to get to your folders. In that time, I have searched for my game in other ways. Really. What we also need to talk about is designs, and here I gotta say, I don't mind it too much that we don't get designs really, except black and white. But they call it design specifically, and we don't really get a design, just a brightness setting basically. I think you could do better. And what I thought is, why not have at least every major game come with a design? You buy the new Zelda, pop it in, and then you press plus, like you did with the gold coins that are removed now. And then you chose install design, and then you have a new Zelda design. Splatoon the same. Donkey Kong. Give us a like yellow design with some Donkey Kong imagery. Stuff like that. Each game could have this little extra. Games are becoming more expensive for a reason. I'm not complaining about the prices. I think the biggest problem with the prices of the games is that these are the prices they should have. They need to have. It's necessary, sadly. That's the biggest problem, that it's necessary to make them this expensive. But you could easily give us this little tiny extra of having each game come with its own design. I mean, Vacation at the Horse Ranch, that doesn't really need one, that's okay, but the major games, like I said, Mario, Zelda, Kirby, Xenoblade, or even stuff like Final Fantasy from third-party developers, but the big ones, they could come with designs that we can use and then customize or switch just a bit more. And while on that topic, as an honorable mention, maybe they should overhaul the Miis. I do like the Miis, but I think the way you can do the hair and stuff, you can do better with that. Make it so that I can make it look more like the character I want. Or make a whole new system that's not Miis, but still a customizable avatar. Something like that. That would be great. And yeah, these were the 5 improvements I am hoping for we have on the Switch 2, and I think at least some of these will happen. I am very positive. I am extremely hyped, and I can't wait to get my little fingers, they aren't actually that little, onto the actual console. Nintendo, please. At least on release. I'm not asking for you to send it over before release, but you know, usually I get stuff from you on release. So yeah. Check out my other stuff as well, especially Amiibo Talk, really love that. And I am very surprised that Amiibo support is still in, and new Amiibos are coming out. I thought Amiibo were dead, but here we are. And we'll see each other in the next video, so until then, bye, my improved leaves.